Hi, and welcome to the next step of our sewing adventure. Now, this is the bit I'm excited about. This is the bit that I am passionate about. Now, obviously, I run a big fancy embroidery studio and I have some really big industrial machines that help me do that. However, you don't need to be me to incorporate embroidery, machine embroidery, into your sewing projects. So we're working on the skirt, and my plan is we're going to put something probably on the bottom here. More on that later, but a little bit about the equipment we're going to use for that. We're living in a world now where when you go into your sewing machine shop, you'll be shown a whole host of different types of sewing machines. Now, a lot of them are very basic and just sew, and then there are some, even the basic ones, that sew and embroider. And there's an awful lot of people message me and they've bought one of these hybrid sewing embroidery machines and they have no idea how to use it. And so this is for you. And if you're thinking about getting a sewing and embroidery machine, then follow this and I'll show you what to do. It's really straightforward. I've brought my brother here. This is a Brother V5 and it's quite a large hybrid sewing embroidery machine. It does sort of everything. It does quilting. It's a really good does everything machine, but there are much smaller ones. I used to have a small Brother machine that just did this size of embroidery, so the 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, and I loved it. I used to embroider everything all of the time, and that's how I got into embroidery, and I got really excited and I upgraded to something bigger, but you don't have to. So I'm going to show you how to use whatever you have to embroider. There's quite a lot of Brother ones available. There's at the moment there's a single one that's flying off the shelves that's a really good price, and it does this size and it does this size, and I think it does a size bigger as well. There's a couple of Genome ones that are really popular. Just go to your sewing machine shop and have a little browse. It's always a fun thing to do, to imagine owning such a thing. But for all of you lucky people who have one already or are thinking of getting one, let's have a go with this machine and I'll show you what to do. Now, first of all, you'll need to take this piece off. So don't switch it on yet. Just take this piece off. This is your sewing thing. So just lift it slightly and take that off. But we need, don't look at the dirt. We need this. So we'll just take that out while we're there. Lots and lots of different feet and whatnot. Pop that over there. And then we're going to put what's called the pantograph, which is the embroidery bit that moves around. We're going to pop that on. Okay, so we're going to pop this on here. So again, just need to lift this bit slightly to slide that on there. And it clicks. Now we can switch it on. So when you're sewing normally, your feed dogs pull through the foot and your fabric goes from this side to this side and your needle goes up and down. Now that the embroidery is pretty much the same principle, except you're not going front and back, you're going round in circles. So it's a bit more like free motion quilting. So the first thing we want to do is to take off this foot, because this is the sewing foot. And we do not need that. Just put it over there for now. And we want to put on this, which is our embroidery foot. And it looks a little bit like a smaller version of a free motion embroidery foot. Free motion quilting foot, that sort of thing. But it's much smaller because it doesn't need to move around. So all that happens is you put your fabric inside a hoop. You pop that on there, you lock it, you tell it what pattern you want to do, and it moves, this pantograph moves around whilst the needle just keeps going up and down. These feed dogs, they drop So you're not going forward and back with the fabric, you're just going round and round, and then it tells you what colour to put in here. Okay, so it's really, really straightforward. So first of all, what we want to do is load the pattern that we want onto the machine, and then we will load the fabric. So to get a design onto your embroidery machine, you will need to have a design on a USB stick or something. You can get designs you want from all over the internet, or you can make them yourself if you're very clever with a computer. There are some brilliant ones on Etsy now for £2 to £3. Sometimes some people put the free ones online. There's some really, really cool websites like Urban Threads that do some incredible designs that you can download in different sizes for your machine in the format that your machine takes. This is a brother, they all take PES software. But most of the time, if you're buying something on Etsy, you'll download all the different formats in the same download, and then you'll just pick out the one that you need and pop it on your machine. Now, I will put the one I'm about to use, because I've just designed that, on my website and also on my Apples in October web Etsy page, and you should be able to get a big bundle with all of them on. That will be available, and I'll put a link on the website project page. So what we do is we pop this in here, ta-da, and then we click embroidery. Now there's various ways you can load it. You can load it from a computer, you can load it from the memory of your sewing machine, or you can just press the USB button. And it's found all of the ones that I've just loaded this morning, and I can't remember which is the one I want. That one's too big. That one's too big, but we can turn it round the other way, so that will fit. That one's too small. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay, so we're going to do one that's in this medium hoop, and it's going to look like that. So I'm going to leave this way around for now. If I want to rotate it, I can do that as well. I'm just going to click embroidery for now, and you can rotate it here, and then you can go back to the beginning, and it tells you what colours you need, and all my colours have got special numbers, and it tells me what the special numbers are, and these should correspond with them. And it tells us where we're going to start. We're going to start on this deep red 181. So here are my 4 colours I'm going to use. I've got a cream, I've got like a deep yellow, I've got like an orangey red, and I've got a deeper red. And we're starting with the deeper red, which is 181. So we're going to load that into here the way that you load thread, just like normal sewing. You just load it in the exact same way. Okay, so we're putting in the red. Off we go. Pop that on there. Dun, 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 dun. It helps if you've got a neutral colour in your bobbin. I've gone for white, but just the same thickness as the thread, the top thread. So I've got some thinner embroidery thread here, so if you want to use that matching thread, so if you're using moon threads, because they all come in different colours, you could stitch with those on top, and then just make sure you've got like a white moon thread in the bottom. Just as long as they're the same thread, you should be fine. You don't need to be fancy with this. Okay, so we've got our... Now, very handily, I've written on the back of that, so I know that that's the back, and I know that this is the front. Now what I want to do is I want to hoop this so that it is like this, and then the rainbow is going to go like that there, and I want to put that underneath. Now that's fine, but the machine might eat it a bit. It needs to be a little bit more stable. So what you can do is you can add some stabiliser. Now you can get a lot of iron-on stabilisers, but I don't have an ironing board to hand, so I'm just going to use a couple of bits of the non-iron-on from my giant supply in the embroidery studio. Yours will come in a smaller roll, but this should do the job. Right, let's put you on, put that one on there, put that one on there, and then we want to put that one on there. So I want it, just don't press anything yet. So I want it about there, I think. So if I hold that in place, and then I can just jiggle the back around until it's in the right place. Oops, I jiggled the front. We're there. Okay. Now, that's not working because I've not undone the screw on there enough. There we go. Press. Don't think my table likes to press this out. There we go. And now it's on a wonk. I don't want it on a wonk. Let's go again. Let's undo it again. Okay. So I've straightened it. I want that straight there. There. That's a bit straighter. You don't really want... You've got your line here where you folded the centre of the fabric. You sort of want it to line up there because this bit will be curved. So you don't want your design to be on a bit of a wonk there. Now, when you've pushed that in, you can then tighten up your screw. Just check. Oh, look what I've done. Just check that your fabric's not bunched up when you tighten it. Tighten up your screw. And then if you really, really need to, you can even use a screwdriver in the end of that to make it a little bit tighter, but you don't have to. It should be hand tight, should be fine. Okay, so I've got my fabric hooped and ready to go. And now I need to put it into the machine. It's probably a good idea to pop that in there and then just sort of roll it up a bit so it doesn't get in the way, like that. And then, because this is a big machine and it does much bigger hoops, like these ones, it's got quite a big area, but it's not going to be using all of that today. So we'll just pop that in there, slide it in, you drop that down to anchor it in place, and then you check that nothing's catching on anything. It is not. So that it can move around freely. And then you check you've got 181 is in here. And then once that foot's down and everything's in place, we don't need a foot pedal, we don't need anything, we just need the green button. Are you ready? And off it goes. So we're just going to leave that now to embroider and come back to it. Now that noise is to tell me it's time to change to a different colour. So all we do is take that thread out and pop in the next colour. Off we go. Okay, it's that easy. Drop the foot, go. there it goes again, saying the next colour is 173. So let's just check what that one is. 173. Now you can put in whatever colour you like, because this is your rainbow. But these are my colours that I put in here. And that I think will go really nicely with this petrol colour of the skirt, I think. So this is the bottom of the skirt, and this is the top of the skirt, and my rainbow is upside down. I should have rotated it 180 degrees, but I wasn't thinking. And now I have an upside down rainbow. And I'm not quite sure how to hide that. I mean, we could just go again and just ignore this and pretend like this never happened and start again from the beginning. Or we could cut a whole nother piece of fabric and go again. I think we'll do that. Okay, so don't make this mistake. It's come to my attention that this one is the wrong way up. So what we need to do is click rotate, and then there it goes. It's the other way up. So there we have it. We've got to do it again now. So what thread did we start with? It was that one. Yeah, don't make this mistake. Make sure you have it the right way round. This is the bottom of the rainbow, and this is the bottom of the skirt, and that is correct. Okay, so that was fun. I had a lovely drink and sat and watched this. It was really fun. It took about 20 minutes. It just did it itself, and it told me when it needed the thread changed. There was just 4 thread changes in this design, and here it is completed. So all we do is we just get this bit here and we unscrew it and it pops off. So there's our frame. Now, if you have any sort of stabiliser on the back, you'll need to cut that so it's not sticking out. But look what we made. So the front of our skirt has now got a lovely rainbow on it. So like I said, you don't have to embroider the front of your skirt if you don't want to, or the back or whatever. You can do whatever you like. You can be as creative or whatever as you like. You can use an applique design. There's loads of applique designs. I think I've put some up on the website somewhere. I'll put a link to some applique flowers that I drew. Applique is just as easy on here, as well as binging when it needs you to change threads. It bings and stops to tell you to put the fabric in, and then it'll do like a marking stitch, and then you can cut round it when it stops. And then you can press go again and it'll stitch round where you've just cut. It's very, very straightforward to do applique on one of these or any of the ones like it. Really, really straightforward. So you can just have a play, and you can do small designs and you can build them up. So you could just put like a flower in here and then another one and then another one and then another one to build like a big design, or you could just have the one. I know less is more, but I am a more is more embroiderer. This machine also takes this this size of hoop so it can do something a bit bigger, and also this size of hoop so it could do a giant rainbow along the bottom of the skirt if it wanted to. I thought that might be a bit much, but again, more is more. So you could just have a play, find a design you like, have a look on one of the really good embroidery websites, have a look on, I'll put some links on this project page on the website. I was in october.com, and there will be some links to some designs I've made that you can download. You can download this rainbow, pop it on. I think it goes really nicely with this skirt. And then we're ready for the final stage. What we do now is we just sew the skirt and we're done. You will need a 21cm zip. It does say it in the pattern, but I forgot to mention it. But you will need a 21cm zip, and you'll need all of your fabric pieces that we've cut out, including this one that we've embroidered. And then we're ready to finish the skirt.